In a bold move, Demon Slayer has decided to make a mostly filler season this season and really dive into the training each of the Hashira are doing with Tanjiro. As somebody that reviews anime training, I am so thankful for this decision, as I feel like I just have infinite content to review this season. So here we go. Part 3 of the Hashira training arc review. Let's see what they have for us today. Before we get started, guys, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can become the best version of yourself and the protagonist of your own fitness journey. Okay, so maybe not the most positive way to reinforce Tokito's students here. I think this is a good example and a good opportunity to talk about the difference between positive and negative reinforcement and why, as personal trainers and as coaches, we try to use more positive reinforcement than we try to use negative reinforcement. Often, when people are negatively reinforced, it makes them want to give up and it makes them want to quit. So I think it's important to be careful when we're speaking to clients as personal trainers to not be like, hey, you're bad because you're doing this wrong, you're a failure. You try to avoid language like that. Like, obviously, we are trying to critique people's exercise form and teach them how to do things properly. But when you're doing so, positively reinforcing that somebody's doing a good job can be really important, and not just putting them down and, in Tokito's case here, being like, hey, you're going to die. That is not great motivation for people to keep moving forward. I don't think that it makes people want to continue working out, or in this case, continue being a part of the Demon Slayer course. So I think right off the bat, if there's one thing that he could fix, it would be his coaching language. And if he could get his coaching language a little bit better and to more positively reinforce his students, I feel like he would probably get better results out of them. Just simply beating up your students may not be the best form of training. Maybe. I think he could maybe use a little bit more coaching instead of just showing and running these drills. I know he's trying to pass on a few tips and tricks kind of as he goes, but I feel like maybe a little bit more drill implementation could be worked in. Maybe that's part of it that we're not seeing, and maybe they're doing that stuff outside of what is just kind of sparring with him. I do feel like as the coach, as the trainer, he could be doing a little bit more for trying to pass knowledge on to the students as he's sparring with them. So this bird is obviously trying to rob these poor students of hydration and telling them to drink water sparingly. Hydration and drinking lots of water helps prevent cramps and leads to good energy levels during workouts, so drinking lots of water is important. Balancing emotional versus logical decisions in training. I think often we tend to make emotional decisions about our own training because it's something that we're passionate about. We have a strong emotional desire to build muscle, lose fat, get stronger, whatever our goals are. We've chosen those as our goals because we have some type of emotional attachment to them. However, sometimes those emotional attachments can lead us to making poor decisions out of emotion instead of thinking things through logically. This is where a good trainer or coach can come into play, because they can take a more logical look at your goals and remove some of the emotion that's tied to it, because they're not their goals, they're your goals. So sometimes if you're making decisions about training and you find that your emotions are getting in the way, see if you can consult somebody and be like, hey, what is the logical thing that I could do in this situation? However, I think it's never good to completely remove that emotion. You want to have a good emotional drive towards doing things, because if it doesn't bring you any joy, if it doesn't invoke any emotion in you, it's probably not something worth doing.
なあ、かまど。お前から柱に稽古を少し軽くできないか言ってくれないか。このままじゃ鬼と戦う前に倒れちゃうよ。
Easing up training. So here we see that the Demon Slayer Corps members are asking Tanjiro if he can approach Tokito and ask him to ease up on the training a little bit. This can be a tough balance when a lot of their lives hang on the lines. Tokito obviously wants to train them hard enough that they're not going to be killed by demons, but as they've stated here, they feel like they're going to die before they even reach there. And I think there's a strong argument to be made here that if they weren't overtraining, they would actually get better results. A huge theme of what I talk about in a lot of my videos is the concept of not overtraining and training the right amount. You're not as strong as the training you do, but you're as strong as the training you do and can recover from. Obviously, there's things you can do to help improve your recovery, like eat lots of protein, get lots of sleep, do some stretching, manage your stress well, as well as several other things that can help, with protein and sleep being the major emphasis of those things and the starting point most people should focus on. However, there's a cap. Nobody can just recover from unlimited amounts of training, even through the use of PEDs that help increase your recovery an exponential amount. They're presented with this issue of they feel like they're overtraining, and they feel like they're not recovering from their training, and they feel like it's just continuing to compound and compound and compound. So what I think would be best for Tokito here is to reduce his students' workload and their training so that it would be a manageable amount that they could recover from, and they would get better results, they would get stronger, and they would be better armed to fight demons.
せめてあの物言いだけでもなんとかならないかな。心えぐられるよね。
So here we get to see how Tokito's coaching tone is actually really weighing on his students. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, speaking to your students or your clients in a very positive, affirming way helps increase their motivation and helps them feel better about the training that they're doing. And in this case, the students of Tokito are getting very demoralized by the constant negative tone that he's taking with them and not allowing them to excel into the best versions of themselves.
やっぱり緊張感が足りないな。一度真剣で稽古してみようか。真剣持ってきて。
Okay, so here we have Tokito adding some real stakes to training. This maybe could end up being a very good lesson for the students and helping them really adapt to what the real stakes in fighting demons will be. But it's also really dangerous and could lead to some negative repercussions that could take the students out of training for a while. So I guess let's see where he's going with this here. I think that could be a little bit reckless as a coach here.
闇雲にかかってこなかったことは成長かもね。分かっているんです。柱に比べて戦いの厳しさが理解できてるはずもないって。
So here we get to see Tokito's lesson and what he was getting at with using the real swords. He wanted to teach the students to stop attacking blindly and to see the value in their own lives. And I think this is a really good growth moment for Tokito as a coach, and we get to see a little bit of the care he actually has for his students and how much he really doesn't want to see them die in battle. And he's training them so hard and pushing them so hard from a place of caring, which is cool to see. It's awesome to see that he does hold so much value in the lives of his students.
柱が毎晩どこかへ行かれて衣服の下をあざだらけにされているのも知っています。早朝に水で冷やしているのを見ました。
Tokito really shows here that he leads by example, and even though he pushes his students really hard, he also pushes himself really hard. By doing so, he really earns the respect of his students by practicing what he preaches. And I think this is an important lesson for personal trainers or anybody that wants to get into coaching people in any regard, that One of the best ways to inspire confidence and inspire motivations out of your students, clients, athletes is to lead by example. I think when people see you practicing what you preach, putting your best foot forward, and showing that you are capable of doing the same level of effort you're asking, I think it really brings out the best from the students or the athletes that you're coaching. So I like to see this out of Tokita here, and I think it was a decent little coaching moment to kind of end this off. After seeing this episode of the Demon Slayer Hashira training arc, I am lowering my rating slightly down to a 6.5. Mostly because I think we see a lot of bad coaching habits out of Tokita here, and I know that he's a Hashira, I know that he's super strong, but I don't think that that necessarily makes him a great coach, and we see a lot of kind of poor coaching habits here. I think Tokito specifically has a lot of room to grow as a coach. I think that the Hashira training as a whole is very well balanced, and we're going to get to see a little bit more of it in later episodes here. And I do really like that there is specific training, and we get to see a little bit of the insight of what some of the specific training looks like. I just think in the case of Tokito, I think that he could be a better coach, and I think that if he wasn't overtraining his students and he was using a little bit more positive language, I think that the Demon Slayer core members that he's training would actually elevate even more than they are. With that said, if you disagree with my rating, let me know in the comments below, and let's discuss. Let's talk about what you think the rating should be, and if you think Tokito is a better coach than I'm giving him credit for. I think that in the next coming episodes, we're going to get to see a little bit more of the Hashira training, and my rating is going to continue to change as I see more of it. So stay tuned for more, guys, and in order to see when that comes out, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you like this video, hit the like button. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.